Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into one of the most incredible systems in the entire human body, a child's mighty lungs. We're going to break down the science behind every single giggle, every cry, and every breath they take. You know, this quote right here really kicks things off perfectly. It's exactly what we're trying to do today. We're not here to just dump a bunch of facts on you. We're here to light that fire, to spark a little bit of wonder about the amazing design of a child's lungs. So let's start with that question. What actually powers all of that? It's something we totally take for granted, right? But behind those simple sounds and breaths is this unbelievably complex and fascinating biological engine. So let's pop the hood and take a look inside. All right, let's get into it. First up, we're going to cover the fundamentals, kind of like the basic roadmap of the respiratory system and what its main job is. When you boil it all down, the purpose is actually super straightforward. It's all about a trade. The body needs to bring in good stuff, oxygen, to fuel absolutely everything it does. And at the same time, it has to get rid of the waste product, which is carbon dioxide. The lungs, they're the marketplace where this critical trade happens, 24/7. So let's follow a single breath on its journey. It all starts when air comes in through the nose or mouth. From there, it travels down the windpipe or trachea and splits off into the lungs. Then it navigates this incredible network called the bronchial tree. Seriously, think of it like a tree branching out into smaller and smaller limbs until it gets to its final destination. And that final destination is these little guys, the alveoli. This is where the real magic happens. A child has hundreds of millions of these tiny, microscopic air sacs. And get this, if you could lay them all out flat, they'd cover an entire tennis court. It's incredible. Across that huge area, oxygen jumps into the blood and carbon dioxide gets handed off to be breathed out. It is just a breathtakingly efficient system. But wait, there's more. The lungs don't just handle breathing. They're also right on the front lines, exposed to everything in the air. That means they need a top-notch security system, a kind of invisible fortress. And who's on that security team? Well, of course, it's the immune system. It's like a team of tiny bodyguards constantly patrolling the airways, ready to take on any threats. Viruses, bacteria, you name it, before they can cause any real trouble. Now, this security team has two main branches. First, you've got innate immunity. Think of them as the first responders. They are on the scene in a flash with a general all-purpose defense. Then you have adaptive immunity. These are the specialist forces, kind of like the SWAT team. They take a little longer to get going, but they develop a super targeted attack. And this is key. They create a memory of the bad guy, so they're ready for it if it ever comes back. Let's meet a few of the star players on that first responder team. You've got macrophages. They're like the cleanup crew. They literally gobble up germs. Then there are neutrophils, the frontline soldiers who are experts at killing invaders on sight. And you can't forget the dendritic cells. They're the messengers, the intelligence agents who tell the specialist forces what the enemy looks like so they can prepare for battle. So we've got this amazing defense system. But as pretty much any parent can tell you, it's not foolproof. So what happens when the germs actually manage to get past the guards? Well, that brings us to all those common coughs and wheezes of childhood. And that really is the question, isn't it? When that invisible fortress gets breached, a battle starts. And the science of that battle are the things we see and hear, the coughs, the fevers, the wheezing. A classic example of this is bronchiolitis. This is a super common illness in little kids. Basically, a virus gets into those tiniest airways, the bronchioles, and they get all inflamed and swollen. That swelling, plus all the mucus and gunk from the immune battle, creates a traffic jam, making it really tough for air to get through. And here are some of the usual suspects, the culprits behind these illnesses. You've got your rhinovirus, which is what gives us the good old common cold, and there's respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, which our sources point to as the main cause of that bronchiolitis we just talked about. As you can see, different viruses have their own MO, causing different kinds of sickness. So, when a child is sick, how in the world did doctors figure out what's going on inside those little lungs? Well, they've got a fantastic set of tools. Think of it as a pediatrician's detective kit. The whole investigation always starts with the basics, a really careful history and a physical exam. That just means listening to the parent's story and listening to the child's breathing. Then, depending on the clues, they might use a chest x-ray to get a picture of the lungs, a blood test to look for signs of infection, or even more specialized tools like spirometry. Okay, let's look at spirometry. It sounds super technical, but the idea is actually pretty simple. It measures how much air you can blow out and how fast you can do it. A really important number is how much air you can push out in that very first second. In a healthy lung, you can blast out about 80% of your air right away. But if those airways are blocked or narrowed, that number drops way down, giving doctors a really clear sign that there's an obstruction. And that's what makes it such a powerful tool. It's simple, it's not invasive, but it gives doctors a clear number that tells the story of what's happening inside the lungs. It's a way of putting a number to how hard it is for a child to take one big, forceful breath. Okay, so the detective work is done and there's a diagnosis. What happens next? In our last section, let's look at the pathways that help kids get better and breathe easier. Let's go back to our bronchiolitis example. For most common viral illnesses like it, the main game plan is something called supportive care. The goal isn't really to attack the virus directly. It's to support the child's body while its own immune system does the hard work. That means focusing on the basics, making sure they're hydrated, keeping fevers down, and maybe using a little oxygen if they need it. It's also worth noting that for a lot of other treatments you might hear about, the scientific evidence just isn't strong enough. So the whole road back to health really boils down to these 3 key steps. It starts with getting that diagnosis right, then creating a personalized treatment plan, which, remember, might just be supportive care at home, and finally, just keeping an eye on things, monitoring, to make sure the child is heading in the right direction. And I want to end this section with something really encouraging from our source material. It says that even when things get more serious, like with a complicated pneumonia, the long-term outcome is usually good. And that's just a huge testament to the incredible, amazing ability of a child's body to heal and bounce back. And really, that's what this is all about, understanding how this system works, how it defends itself, and how doctors help out when it's under attack. It's not just interesting information, it's about empowerment for parents and caregivers. Which brings us right back to where we started. Breathing is life. It fuels everything: growth, play, learning. So the final question we want to leave you with is a bigger one. How can we, all of us, make sure the very air our children breathe is as clean and safe as it can be, to help light that incredible fire of potential inside every single one of them? Thank you for joining us on The Explainer.